it's Jessie here. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here. In today's video, we are going to be writing out my paycheck budget for the week of August 31st. I am still in my yellow paycheck budget worksheet here because we're still in August, technically. The way that I do my budget is I budget paycheck to paycheck, not necessarily by month. So the month doesn't really matter, except that I do different themed printables for each month. So it doesn't really matter that I'm still in yellow. I could easily have made this my September budget and used my new printables, but I consider my monthly budget to include any income that comes in August. So even though we are primarily paying September bills and September expenses with this income, the income still came in August, so technically it's still an August budget. Does that make sense? Like I said, it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things, but that's why I'm still in my yellow printables for the week. As much as I would love to say goodbye to August, I'm following my own rules and sticking with this being an August budget. So the income we are working with this week is my husband's paycheck number 5, which I do not write in an income amount for him because he doesn't want me to tell the internet how much money he makes, and I respect that. The other money we are working with is my Etsy income for the week. Now, I mentioned last week that I wasn't going to include my Etsy income anymore in with my husband's paychecks, and that's true moving into September, but since this is the last paycheck in August, I'm going to include this one last time. For September, what I'm going to do is I'm going to save up all of the money I earn from Etsy and YouTube in the month, and I'm going to just do one kind of like online income budget. So I'll combine all of my Etsy income and my YouTube income, and it will get its own paycheck budget worksheet. But for this week, we're going to do Etsy along with my husband's paycheck just to wrap up August. So in order to budget my Etsy income, I need to look up and see how much money I earned from Etsy this week. It's not a lot this time, but still, I'm grateful for it. Thank you all so much for purchasing my printables. I do have these yellow printables up in my shop, as well as some fun ones for September, which you will see when I flip to my September calendar. Over the weekend, I did post a new printable in my shop. It is my income tracker bundle, which I'm going to be using to keep track of my Etsy income throughout the month of September. So if you want that, that's linked down below. Check out my Etsy shop. I appreciate all of your support. So the amount that I am going to be receiving from Etsy this week is $22.21. Thank you all so much for purchasing my printables. Okay, so now that we know what income we're working with, or I know rather, we're not going to put a total in here for you guys, but I know what I'm working with, I can start budgeting for the week. Now, if you watched any of my videos so far this week, you will know that last week was a complete and total fail. We had so many unbudgeted expenses, and I stuck my little budget page over here so that I could show you guys. Look at all the red ink we had on this page. We did a lot of overspending. I have a plan for how I'm going to move forward with paying for that overspending, but because we've been overspending so much right now, my buffer that I keep in my checking account has gotten very low. We also have some big expenses this week, so because of that, we're not going to be making an extra debt payment this week. It kills me because we're so close to paying off our Lowe's card, but no extra debt payment happening this week, with the exception of a little bit from my Etsy income. I did promise you guys that I was going to put 100% of my profits from Etsy to extra debt, so I am going to be doing that, but it's not a whole lot. So we're going to have a teeny tiny little extra debt payment We're also not going to be adding any money to sinking funds, with the exception of the taxes I'm going to pull from my Etsy income. So this $22.21 is going to fund my sinking funds and my extra debt. So that tells you right there how small the amounts are going to be in these categories. Therefore, I'm not going to have a cash envelope stuffing video this week. I don't think. Maybe we'll just combine it all into one video. I don't know what we're going to do, but these are going to be very, very small. So we're just going to pay bills, we're going to do our cash envelopes, and we're going to parse out this $22.21 into these two categories. So this should go pretty quick. We definitely have had some longer videos this week, kind of muddling through all of this overspending that happened, so maybe a quick video is a good thing. So for the first category here, this is my checking account category, and this is going to encompass anything that I'm going to pay using my debit card or, you know, writing a check for, that sort of thing. So first thing we need to do is take a look at bills. Now, if we look at August's calendar, I don't have anything left to pay in August. We are right here on August 31st. That's the last day of the month. There's nothing due here. But this paycheck we received in August has to get us through the whole first week of September as well. So I also need to flip to my September calendar to see what I owe this week. So here's a look at my September printables. If you're interested in these, they are available in my Etsy shop. You can buy them individually, or you can buy a bundle with all of the printables for September. That's linked below, like I said, but we need to tackle these three bills here. There's nothing else that's due, but these three bills are big bills for us. We cannot neglect them. So lot rent, water, and cable. So that's what we're going to write in here for checking. So lot rent, water, and cable. There's also a couple of other things, but we're going to start with this. So for lot rent, if you're not familiar with our situation, we own our home free and clear. We paid off our mortgage back in spring of 2020, but we live in a mobile home, teeny tiny little single wide mobile home. I get questions all the time about our mobile home and how that affects our finances, if we regret buying a mobile home, that sort of thing. I'm going to do a whole separate video on mobile home living, pros and cons in terms of like the budget. So be on the lookout for that. I get questions all the time about our situation with that. But the main thing is, yes, we own the home, so we don't have a mortgage payment, but our mobile home is in a mobile home park. So we don't own the lot. We don't own the land. So we're still paying rent even though we own our home. The lot rent is $527 a month, and it goes up every single year, it seems like. So, yeah, that's the first line item in our budget. We got to pay that. So that takes care of our lot rent. For water this month, I'm going to budget $65. Our water bill has been a lot higher these past few months for some reason. We used to pay less than $50, but the last couple of months it's been closer to $65. We did have a toilet leak at one point in time, which is what I was kind of attributing that little bit of a price hike to, but that's been fixed for a while now, so it shouldn't still be affecting our bill. It's only like $15 more than usual, but something for me to keep my eye on. And then for our cable, for cable TV and internet, we pay, it's like $62 and change. I'm going to budget $65 for that as well. So that's it for the bills, but there are a couple more expenses I need to account for here in my checking section. The first one is gas. I like to use our debit card or a credit card to pay for gas because I hate dealing with cash and running into the gas station and prepaying and all of that. So I just swipe my card at the pump, and I'm going to budget $50 for gas for the week. That's about what it costs these days to fill my Subaru Forester from empty. Now, we did just fill up our gas tank, so it's not likely that we will need this full $50, but I always budget for it because gas is a need, not a want. If I run out of gas in the middle of the week, it's not like I can just say, okay, I'm not driving anywhere anymore. Obviously, I have to have gas in my car, so I always budget for it, even if I don't think I'm gonna need it, just so that I'm covered. Lastly, for this checking account section is an expense that has popped up. My son joined a soccer team. He has spiritware orders due this week, and we definitely wanted to buy some sweatshirts and t-shirts to support his team. We're so excited about him getting to play soccer. So for that spiritware, I need to write out a check tomorrow, and it's going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of $120. It's a lot, but I'm more than happy to pay it to support my son's team, to be able to have his number, and, you know, like soccer mom, I'm all about that life. So $120 is going to come right off the top of my husband's paycheck to cover our spiritware. So that's it for my checking account. I'm going to go ahead and pull in my calculator here and add this up. So we have 527 plus 65 plus 65 plus 50 plus 120. That's $827 for this category. Moving on, we have my cash envelopes. So these are our variable expenses. We like to do our variable expenses in cash. The idea is that it keeps us from overspending. Lately, we've just been spending all the cash and then swiping the card anyway. That's the reason we're in this mess, and why we have such a short budget this week. But yeah. So the first category for cash envelopes is food. This is for groceries as well as any eating out that we want to do. For this week, I'm sticking with my typical budget of $200, even though I've been consistently over that. When we do our first budget in September, this number is going to go up, but for now, I'm really going to try this week to stick with this $200 budget, because money's tight this week with all the overspending we've been doing. So fingers crossed that this works out. We'll see. For my husband's spending money, he's going to get $40. This is what I give him every single week for his personal spending. He can do whatever he wants with it. He always sticks to his budget. I'm so grateful that he's not a big spender. I'm the spender. I'm the shopper. I'm the one that has trouble sticking with the budget sometimes. He never does, and he is a rock star for that. For my spending money, I'm going to get $40 as well. Next up, we have Austin, who is our 13-year-old son. He earns an allowance every week, and that's $20. And lastly, for this cash envelope section, we have miscellaneous. I like to keep a miscellaneous $20 in my wallet for anything else that comes up throughout the week that I didn't think to budget for. So let's go ahead and add this up. 200 plus 40 plus 40 plus 20 plus 20 is $320. So I'm going to pull out $320 in cash, and we will stuff my cash envelopes. I think I actually am going to do a separate video for that. It'll just be like a super quick, short and sweet video, because I don't want to have to wait to edit this video, and I still need to go to the bank and do all of that. So I'll have that as a separate video later on this week. It'll be super short and quick, probably a 10-minute video. But that way I can finish this video I'm filming now, kind of wrap it up and get it edited. And I don't have to hold off and wait for that other footage. So be on the lookout for a super short and sweet cash envelope stuffing video this week. Sinking funds. So if you're not familiar with sinking funds, they are little mini savings accounts for things that we know that are coming up throughout the year that we want to be prepared for. We don't want to have to use our typical paycheck budget to cover these things, because in general, they're things that are more expensive. They're going to be a financial drain. So we just typically will set aside little bits of money throughout the year for these things. I have about a dozen sinking funds. We're not adding a ton of money to them this week because we're pinching pennies this week, but typically I add money to my sinking funds every week. The one sinking fund we are going to add money to is my taxes sinking fund. Obviously, I have to pay taxes on this income that I earned from Etsy. Even though it's only $22, I don't get to keep that $22. Part of that has to go to the IRS. So the one sinking fund we are going to fill this week is taxes. Of that $22.21, I'm laughing because it's only $22, but every dollar adds up, every dollar helps. Of that $22.21, I need to put 30% of it away for taxes. So we're going to do $7 into our taxes sinking fund. That's going to be a total of $7 for our sinking funds this week. Not a lot, but it is what it is. And then for extra debt, we're not going to take anything out of my husband's paycheck to pay towards extra debt, but we are going to take the difference from my Etsy income and pay that towards debt. So we had that $22.21 minus $7. That leaves us with $15.21 to pay towards our extra debt. So that's going to go to our Lowe's card. And I'm actually going to round it up. I'm going to pull a little bit of change out of my buffer, and we're going to pay $16 to Lowe's. Not a lot, but that's $16 more than I would have paid otherwise if I hadn't earned that Etsy income. So again, thank you guys so much for helping to support our debt-free journey by buying my budget printables. Okay, so now we are here at this totals section. I'm not going to write anything in under income since I don't disclose my husband's income, so I'm just going to leave that blank. I will fill that in off camera. For checking, the budgeted amount is $827. Essentially, all I'm doing here is taking the totals and just plugging them into the totals section here. Cash envelopes is $320. Sinking funds are $7, and extra debt is $16. So I will take that income amount then, once I write it in, I will subtract everything we spent for checking, cash envelopes, sinking funds, and extra debt. That will give me a remaining balance, and that remaining balance is going to go down here to our rollover section to be rolled over into next week. Essentially, that will go into our buffer. And we will take that whole amount, roll it over into next week. That way, if we have a week where income's a little bit shorter, like it was this week, or we have a higher spending week, we have a little bit of money all ready to start us off for next week. That's the beauty of the rollover. It helped us out this week a little bit, though my buffer is down by quite a bit because I did use some of it for paying extra towards debt, but overall we're okay. It's not going to kill us in the grand scheme of things to skip a week of sinking funds or to, you know, pay a little bit extra or a little bit less in extra debt payments. It's not the end of the world. It's not ideal. I would love to be able to put, you know, $300 or $400 into sinking funds and pay a ton of money to extra debt, but just wasn't in the cards this week. We're going to end August with, you know, a teeny tiny little budget here, and then next week we'll start my September budget, and hopefully we'll be back on track. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up. That really helps out my YouTube channel. It helps me to continue to grow. We are, you know, moving at a snail's pace in terms of subscriber milestones. So if you have not yet subscribed, I would love it if you would do that. I appreciate your support so much here on my YouTube channel as well as in my Etsy shop. Make sure you check out my printables if you're interested. Thanks so much for watching, my friends, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!